So Kanye West, there are consequences that go way beyond business with him right now because he is still in the middle of a divorce. Now, we broke this story that the divorce, they separated the official divorce from two remaining issues, child custody and property settlement. Property settlement is not going to be that much of an issue. Custody now, in the wake of these anti-Semitic rants that Kanye made.
The White Lives Matter shirts, the comments about George Floyd, all of it over the last month.
And his mental illness, that could be a big factor in this divorce, which is looming right now.
There's a trial that is scheduled for December if they don't work out any custody arrangement. And
they're not talking.
Exactly.
They are not
One,
talking.
they're not talking. Two, how much time has passed since they've actually been divorced? They're not working out a custody arrangement. This is going to happen in court, I mean, barring something at the last second.
It certainly is feeling that way. He doesn't even have a lawyer anymore. So now the question, could a judge look at Kanye West in court if he shows up and say, I want to talk to you about your mental state right now? Are you taking your meds? What is going on with these rants? And is it impacting the children? Because the guiding light, the North Star in custody cases is called best interests of the kids. And if the kids in any way are in jeopardy with Kanye getting custody or, say, unsupervised visitation, that's going to be an issue.
It's not an issue of how Kanye is treating the kids. No one is questioning how he treats the kids. But the things he is saying and doing certainly could put them at risk being out in public with their father. That is clear from everything that has happened over the last month.
Maybe you can clear this up, Harvey, but can a judge do that, or does Kim's side first have to raise these issues? Or can a judge come in and say, look, I've done my homework, I've followed you, Kanye, I've seen what you've done, what you've lost, and here's why I want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, it's a good question. Kim is going to have to come in, Brad, with some proposal. She's going to have to say 80-20 custody. I want physical custody. He gets She's got to come in with something. And that opens the door for the judge to start asking questions.
I mean, all those questions, though, let's say Kim doesn't go to court and raise it, and maybe the judge doesn't say something to Kanye at this point. Even if, when they have the trial, there's no way this doesn't come up.
It's going to come up.
In the trial.
It's going to come up.
He's going to face these questions. So it will be a factor at some point or another in what happens with the custody of their kids.
At the very least, the judge is going to ask about his meds because, look, he has a mental illness. We now know that he's acknowledged that. He's also acknowledged that he doesn't
always
take his
medication.
Because he says it tamps down his creativity or whatever. So the judge is going to ask that. And to me, at the very least, I could see a judge saying at this point that there'll be visitation, but it's going to be supervised.
Yeah.
And she had always, Brad, my recollection is they've always talked up to this point about joint custody, right?
It's always been joint custody. He's always been allowed to see the kids when he wanted, as long as they didn't have something already planned or they were at school or whatever. And it's always been a very open kind of custody agreement. And we saw that as recently as Paris when he had his Yeezy fashion show, when he wore the White Lives Matter shirt. All of the kids were there. Kim was not, and it's because he wanted them there.
Yeah, that could change with everything that's going on. And look, we don't know that it's going to, but I can tell you that a judge, given this kind of backdrop, and I don't know what Kim is going to say in court or her lawyer, but at a point, the judge is going to ask some pretty hard questions that he's going to have to answer.
All right, Jaleesa Danielle, Houston, Texas. So this whole Kanye thing, I just feel like it just needs to stop. When you have the media constantly on you all the time, I think that's why he's acting the way that he does. And to think that, like, when you're canceling and taking away things from people, they think it's supposed to put you in your place. But in reality, I feel like it's just going to backfire and fuel the fire somewhere else.
The only thing I'd say, I hear what you're saying, that how Kanye is going to react to all this stuff all the business being taken away from him. But the media and other companies weren't on Kanye until he started saying all this stuff. You remember, there was for several months where Kanye was quiet, wasn't saying anything. Nobody was talking
right.
about him in the media. Companies were doing business with him until he started raising issues,
That's right.
saying that the companies were screwing with him. And that's when it became a bigger thing. By the way,
there's another ripple effect of this, which is the Donda Academy.
His Donda Academy, some of his kids who are, you know, very excellent basketball players. They are on, there's a tournament coming up, a national tournament, and it's really important for these kids to play in that tournament, but the organizers have said they do not want the Donda Academy team to play in those games.
Yeah, and Charles, this is a big blow to these kids. I mean, you know, they're very talented kids. I mean, you're talking about 5-star recruits, you know, kids going to Kentucky. And this is one of the biggest basketball tournaments in the world. Bronny James is expected to be there. In the past, LeBron has played in this tournament, Kobe, Kevin Durant. So this is a big deal. And now these kids, through no fault of their own, are left out because Kanye West has spread this hate. There's more sports implications, though. So Kanye also has a sports marketing agency, and he had two of the biggest stars, a basketball player on the Celtics, Jaylen Brown, and Aaron Donald, the superstar from the Rams. Both of those guys have said, we cannot be a part of Donda Sports anymore. So they have terminated their contract. So he just lost these two huge athletes. Now, Antonio Brown is the president of Donda Sports. Last night, Antonio Brown, who has his own issues, he comes out and he puts out the statement of support for Kanye. Says, guy, listen to this, says the media has blown Kanye's words or taken his words out of proportion. Don't know how you can ever say that. So Antonio Brown, go figure, is sticking with Kanye West. Everyone else is out.
Wow. This is, and does this end? I mean, I don't know what is.
I don't know how it ends because what it seems to require is that companies and people who are associating with Kanye would like to hear him explain further and retract his statements.
I don't think that's...
And he's not going to do it.
He's not going to do it.
He's not going to do it.
And if he did it, at this point, it would be false. And you know, and look, we don't know the medical state, but it feels like he's in the middle of something.